All right, I think we're all on and ready to get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Access Vendor Aggregator training. Oh, can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep.
My name is Brian Maltby. I'm the project manager. I'm with Health Tech Solutions. We're the ones developing this implementation for the state of Arizona. On the call from Health Tech, we have Janice Dalen. She's our program manager. We have Joe Daly, who is one of our technical architects. We have Manasi Upadhyay, who is also one of our technical leads. We have Zeta Robertson, who is a business analyst. On the call today, we're going to go through a brief introduction. Once we finish that, we're going to jump into a presentation. We'll have a brief overview of that presentation, talk about registration, talk about the development information, how to receive support, and final questions. So for today, Janice has a presentation for us. I'm going to kick it over to her to walk us through that packet.
Good afternoon and morning. Thanks, Brian. We're going to walk through, again, as you said, just a brief overview, talk about the registration for EVV vendors, talk about the development information, because there will be some minor changes needed for the APIs, connect to the aggregator, how you can receive support, and then walk through any questions everybody has. So just at a high level, a lot of you, everyone here is aware, Access is transitioning to managing the EVV aggregator in October. Our goal really is to limit the disruption to you all. We're mirroring the existing formats and processes as much as we can. There are a few things that have to change, but we're trying to limit that so you can go on with business as usual as easily as possible. There are some required changes. So those API endpoints for you to connect to the aggregator, there are changes there. The format layout should be the same. This is a training. I just wanted to remind everybody, this is really the training for the EVV vendors. So the folks that are sending the visit data to the aggregator. There will be a separate training in the coming weeks for any providers. So if you are a provider providing the home health services or any visit services, there will be a separate training for providers for the user interface in the next few weeks. But right now, this is really focused on the EV vendors, the folks that are sending the data to the aggregator. And then as always, Access does a really great job of updating their website. So you can always go out to the Access EVV website and view the most up-to-date information. And we will have this presentation and a couple documents available after this training today, and we'll get that out to everybody as well. Right. So starting up with registration. So it is a multi-step process. A lot of you, you should have received that email earlier this week asking you to start registering. Again, this is for the aggregator folks, not for providers. So anyone that is an EVV vendor that is sending the data to the aggregator, that's who we need to register. So a lot of you have sent in your technical contacts, and that's what we're looking at for the first. I put it step 0 because in the instructions, we start with step 1 as something else. But we really need those technical contacts to get you access within the Arizona environment. And so that means you need to go to the service page where it has IT issues. And there are instructions we have for that as well. Way at the bottom of this website, there is an IT issues hyperlink. You click on, and if you can enter in your organization name, it's really important because we can't always tell from your email address. The technical contact that we'll be working with for the API connectivity, and their email address. That'll get you started. And so you'll submit that ticket, and there is a defect today, just so you're aware. When you submit that form, it'll bring you to a login screen, and it's a little confusing. We have something opened with the vendor to resolve that. You shouldn't be getting that login screen, but you should receive an email with your ticket number. And so we'll take a look at that. And if we have any questions, one of our team members will reach out to confirm anything and then move you on to step 1. You can have multiple contacts register with an Access, but we're going to ask that only one will register for an API subscription key for your connectivity. But that's the initial step, getting your technical contact information over to Access. And for those of you that have done that, whether you've been testing with us for a few weeks now, or whether you sent us that contact information the last few days, we have a little internal process we have to go through to get everyone confirmed and then set up. So it might be a day or so before you get the email, which is part of the instructions to move forward into step 1. So don't be alarmed if you haven't seen that email yet. We have sent the first group over for those emails to be sent out, but it can take them a little bit to get those all distributed. Then we move to step 1, and there is a Word document or a PDF document that has these instructions in it, and we'll again get that out after this meeting as well, to register within Access. So once you have that technical contact set up with us, you're going to get this email from Access, and you have to just follow the instructions to accept their invite to be included in their network. Again, this can take that day or two for the team to onboard your organization and create the email. And then step 2 is really registering for the API within the Access portal. So you now have an account within Arizona, which is fantastic. You're going to log into this portal, and this is where we're going to have you register for the API subscription key. And I'll bring over the instructions here in a second to kind of show you what that looks like. And we recommend that you really register for both the test and the production APIs at this point. You can do some connectivity testing with the test endpoint. Prod isn't available yet, but if you register for both, you can get your systems configured. Now, again, it can take up to a day for us to confirm that API registration, making sure you are who you say you are, you have access to the right things. So there is like a small step where you go from submitting that request to actually having it active and being able to use it. And then let me go back and show you the instruction set. So if you haven't seen that before, we can walk through that together real quick. Give me 1 second here. All right, so this first bit, it's really about, you're registering with Access, sending your technical contact. This image on the right is that email you will receive once they've added you into their network. And then you will follow those instructions, which are on this first few pages here. You accept the invitation. There's some things around multi-factor authentication, and your account will get set up, and then you should be redirected to the SI portal. And so this is the portal where you can actually register for the API. So this is that step 2. You'll log in to this portal using your email. That is your API technical contact email. And then you'll navigate in here. Oh, I think that might be in here twice. You'll get this screen once you've logged in, and then you'll click on products in the top right. And under products, there are a couple different products. Again, you'll want to register for both the prod aggregator and the test aggregator. And so you'll click on the one first, and you can name this whatever makes sense to you. So maybe you don't call it EVV aggregation in your company, you call it something different. I would recommend definitely having a naming convention so you know test from prod, but you can name it whatever you want and click the subscribe button. And then your profile will then show that you have requested this test aggregation API, and it's in a state of submitted. So this is that part for step 2 where I'm like, it can take just a little bit for us to verify you are who you say you are. And once we've done that, this state will change from submitted to active. So just give us a short amount of time for that one. If you have concerns, you can submit a ticket. But once you are activated, you should receive an email, and then you can log back into the portal, and under products, give me 1 second, I'm scrolling a lot here. Under profile, I apologize, our profile, you'll see that the API that you registered for went from that submitted to an active state. And now you have the keys, your subscription keys that you need in order to set up your API. There's also more information on this portal page about with the APIs. So feel free to get that information, the URLs in there as well. But this will allow you to get registered. Once you have the key, you are good to go and can do your configuration and do some connectivity testing once that's done. So let me go back. That is registration. I know that's a lot. So again, if you have questions here at the end, let us know. But it is that multi-step process. Once you're registered, you have the subscription key. Just so you know, there are a few things you do need to make modifications for, right? You're changing endpoints. So no longer are you going to be talking to the vendor that you send data to today. You're going to be talking to Access. And so that URL will need to be updated to have the Access API endpoint. So that is all available inside of that API portal that we were just looking at. The subscription key does need to be passed in the URL or as a header variable. In our development instructions, I explain a little bit of either of those options, so whichever is preferable to your organization. You also have the account header property needs to be passed for us to categorize the interactions and understand, maybe if someone's having problems, who that is. And then a few questions we've had in the past is, so in the current vendor system, you will submit your transaction and then you'll submit a status transaction later. Right now, the environment is set up about every 20 minutes to process those transactions in the back end. So if you can give us that time before you send your status, everything should have gone through. We are evaluating as people are sending in their data right now to try to tune that performance so we can improve that timeline. But right now, if you receive status back in 20 minutes, that's the expectation. And again, we will try to improve that over time. But once you have your development done, really test those connections. Again, test the test API. We want to make sure that you're able to get data in. And then I do have that document to provide to you after this presentation as well that just talks about, getting the URL, getting your subscription key and where it needs to be put, how to access your account header information. So all of that is in a Word or a document we'll be sending out shortly. But what else is if you need help, right? There are a lot of you that are coming on board. Some of you, this will be easy. You've done this before, no biggie. Others, this is kind of a big change because maybe you haven't changed an API endpoint in quite a while. If you do run into issues, the same place that you submitted your technical contact is where you can submit your issues. Again, we have that weird defect right now where you're going to see a login page, but hopefully they'll get that resolved in the next week. But if you have issues, have questions, aren't seeing what you were expecting, please submit it through that issues page and we will work those as quickly as we can. Again, instructions for the registration are currently out on the Access EDD page under the General Resources and Frequently Asked Questions section. And there's a hyperlink in this presentation as well. And so we really encourage you to work through the registration process, start testing, and then provide us any of that feedback through the ticketing process. And I often talk fast when I'm nervous, so I apologize if I went through that too quickly. If you have questions or want me to go back through something, please let me know and we can do that. So I don't know, Danielle, if we can have folks put questions in the chat, if that's open.
They're actually coming through right now, Janice. There's a Q&A tab at the top. I've been going through, starting to answer some of the ones as they start to come in. I just noticed they were populating. Looks like the next question we have is from an anonymous guest. Is there support for coordinators?
Oh, I answered that one, Brian.
I'm
this
sorry.
session is, again, for EVV software vendors. So if you're a provider agency, support coordinator, this information is not going to be as helpful for you, but you can find information on upcoming training sessions on our website, which I have linked in some of the responses.
Thanks, Danny. I missed that response. The next question from Angelica does not look like we have a response yet. For caregiver relationship types such as live-in, our office does not currently have access to the SAN data modules needed to add these relationships in XREF. Will there be alternate options available in the EVV aggregators such as ERSP to record these relationships?
So I'll just say this is Danielle with Access. We're going to release more information very soon. We know there's tons of issues with the SAN data live-in caregiver XREF. So if you have not yet, please sign up for our email list so you receive that information as soon as we can release it. And I will put the link in the Q&A here.
Okay, looks like we have one more question that had a couple of responses, but some additional questions. It says, hello, when will Access switch looking from the SAN data systems into the new EVV aggregator we have set up? Do we need to do anything else from our side? Looks like there was a response. Are we supposed to be muted? And is anyone else not able to see or hear anything? Hopefully everyone else can hear and see what we're showing. I'm not sure if you guys can hear us or not. If someone can, maybe just respond with a yes in the chat for us. Uh-oh.
And what's the other question around the timing, Brian? The first
Yeah,
part of the
looks like
question?
when will Access switch looking from the SAN data system to the new EVV aggregator that we have set up? Do we need to do anything else from our side?
I would say that, we need you to test. So as soon as you're set up, please make sure you're testing. And I believe communication will be coming out soon with the official transition date. I think we're talking about that tomorrow to see when that communication can be distributed. So it should be soon. And it will be early October.
Okay, good. I got a lot of comments people can hear, so that's a win. All right. Next question we have, are there any EVV vendors that have successfully gone through the setup and ready to go? I signed up for care time and it doesn't seem to be working out. Am I able to switch vendors?
So some EVV vendors have been submitting test data, probably about 10 right now, that have been testing with us and gone through the whole process. We did just get that first group of people that sent us the technical contacts this week over to Access for adding and working through step 1. So hopefully you should get some information on that. And I'm not sure about the last part of that question.
Sounds like maybe signed up through care time, but they were having some issues and requests about switching vendors. I know we are still testing with some of the other vendors, and there's just been a couple additional things that need to be corrected. But I believe you are able to choose your vendor up until, I'm not sure. Danny, did we have a set date yet on when we wanted people to try and complete all switches by?
We're recommending the 15th of September just until we get through 10-1. That you have your vendor selected, that you're working through that process and making sure you're sending visit data and getting your claims paid through that process. Of course, this is your vendor, you're choosing. You really can switch at any time. There just might be some timing issues as we go live. So that's just our recommendation. We recommend that you have your vendor selected and that you're training and using their processes by September 15th.
Okay, there was one further up that I was responding to. Let me see. It looks like Megan, you had your provider tech you provided your technical contact but never got an email. Okay, I see what you sent from Care Time. I reached out to one of our resources to check on the background. I'll send that information over now and see if that's been received. Either way, we'll get back with you and let you know if we need you to resubmit or if everything's in the process of being completed. But thank you. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions that have come through. Don't see any other questions in the chat right now. Is there anything that was missed or that we glanced over? I think everything.
I am seeing, let me see, where did they go? Sorry guys, 1 second. There's a lot of chats and answers coming through. Okay. So here's a good question. Are the APIs we have been using with SANdata the same as those that will be provided by Access?
Yes. So at the beginning, our goal is really to minimize disruption. So we mimicked as much as we could using the specifications that were what you're using today. There are the differences I talked about, though. The URL is going to be different. We need the subscription key, and we need an account in the header. But other than that, the layout should be the same as you're submitting today. The different transactions that you're submitting today are the same. We do not have information, just to be transparent, on any response codes you received previously, but we have those documented and should also be getting those out to you all shortly as well. So formatting wise, you shouldn't see any differences.
We have a question. Are we allowed to provide more than one technical contact per vendor, or are they limited to only one?
Yeah, you can share more than one technical contact per vendor. Just when you get the registration key, it'll only be you should only have one of your technical contacts get that, because you can only use really one key to submit your data.
Another question, is there a formal testing process we need to complete before being issued production credentials?
There is not a formal testing process. Our understanding is that you have tested successfully with the existing vendor, and so we don't have anything formal for you to get approval to move on to the production.
This is a question I can answer. Someone is asking if 10/1 is no longer the transition date. I'm not sure where that came up, but 10/1 is still the transition date. And you can find all the information we have available on our website. Another question I can answer. As an agency, shouldn't we consider switching our current EVV vendor to Access? So Access is not providing an EVV software solution. We are simply providing an aggregator. So you will need to have an EVV vendor. If you are a provider agency, you need a contract with an EVV vendor. If you're using SANdata, you can reach out to them to contract with them directly. Their contact information is in our EVV 2.0 FAQ on the website. But you will need to have an EVV vendor. We are simply moving to an aggregator only model where Access will no longer provide a free EVV solution. We just need you to have your EVV visit data sent to our aggregator. I'm not sure if you can answer this one, HTS. Does the vendor need to send docs to be able to be included in the aggregator, or SANdata will just transmit the docs to Access?
Like documents?
Yeah, maybe you can go over the process again just really quickly on what the vendors need to do to make sure they can send data to the aggregator.
Sure. So it's mostly just the registration process. So provide your technical contacts. You'll and then registering for with Access. So they'll send you an invite, and you accept that and walk through those steps. And then you'll have access to the API portal so that you can register for the API there and get all the technical information so you can change your connectivity from SANdata Today to Access. There's no documents related to that, but you will receive some emails. And then there are some modifications you'll need to make to those endpoints to be, access ready versus the current vendor. But if you do have, more detailed questions, or maybe we need to meet, you could submit a ticket and we can try to work through that.
Thank you. We have another question. As all EVV vendors, we currently confirm EVV data uploads by viewing SANdata with the agency login information. Will this be similar for the Access Aggregator?
Can you say that one more time, Danny? Sorry.
As alt EVV vendors, we currently confirm EVV data uploads by viewing SANdata with the agency login information. Will this be similar for the Access Aggregator? I think they just want to know how to confirm what they're uploading to the Access Aggregator.
Yeah, so typically there's a status API call that you would you're using with SANdata Today to get the response back for what you've submitted. If I know there are some EVV vendors that are actually also providers, and providers will be given access to a user interface to view visit information. If that's what you're looking for.
I think that's good for now. Let's see, next question, why was the change of aggregator needed? So we actually have a separate webinar and FAQ on the website that you can look at to see why this change was needed moving forward. Let's see, SANdata did not create claims when using an alt EVV vendor. I assume the process remains the same with the change. The claim will need to be created outside of Access. That is correct. The claim process is not changing. Our validation remains the same. The only change is the aggregator where we get the EVV visit data. Someone is asking when the initial login error will be resolved as they cannot move past step 1.
So if you are able to get here, let me bring it up real quick so everybody can see. 1 second. Okie dokie. Just a second here. So it's now SP. Okay. So you'll enter the site and then way at the bottom here, I know it's hidden very small under IT issue. You should get to this page and you can enter in your urgency category is EVV, my name, my email. And then, technical contact information. I'm going to say, please disregard this ticket. And I assume you're not a robot, so you'll check the box and then you'll hit the submit button. And even though it's going to bring up this login screen, it did submit your ticket. So as long as you were able to submit and click that button, we did receive your information.
Thank you, Janice.
Yep.
We have another question. We have the prior specs that were issued previously. Are those still accurate besides the endpoints? Are there any changes?
Correct. Those are what were used to support the development. So they are correct. And we should have updated ones posted at some point, but really there's no changes.
I'm just going through the questions to see if I think I'm back where I started. Brian, do you see any questions we need to answer?
There's a new one on the top.
Coming in on the top. I'm just looking
Yeah,
for the ones without comments.
I have one that shows asking about if an EVV provider or EVV vendor, I apologize, an EVV vendor is multiple providers use them to submit their visit information, whether they should request multiple credentials or just one. And so as an EVV vendor, we only ask that you get one set of credentials. We don't need to know for every provider. We just need you just need that credential once. So just get one registration key.
Here's one that does not have an answer. As an agency, should we consider switching our current EVV vendor software like Access Care and Care Time to Access?
Oh, I answered that one live. Access will no longer be providing an EVV solution, so you do need to select a vendor that can share data to our aggregator.
Thanks, Danny.
And I've got a couple more. The subscription key, and maybe this was responded to, I don't think it was. It does not expire, but you can rotate it. So if you need to change your subscription key, you can do that at any time. And then also, there's another one asking if they expire. And they do not.
I'm seeing a lot of questions about where they send visits for a date of service prior to 10/1, if they need to send it the old way or to the new aggregator. Effective 10/1, all of your visit data, regardless of date of service, needs to go to the Access aggregator. We will no longer have a relationship with the current vendor for the aggregator, and so that's the only way we'll be receiving your visit information moving forward. So see another one about the date of service. So the date of service will not matter, just starting 10/1, your visit data has to go to the Access aggregator. I don't know if I said that clearly, Janice or Brian, you're more technical. Is there another way to say that?
Nope, you got it.
Comments. Looks like we got another one to check for Lizelle. I'll send this one over to check too.
Let's see, I see a question about the XREF for live-in relationships. We are going to send some more information about that very shortly. So please make sure you sign up for our email list if you haven't already. It's available on the website. We know there's lots of issues. We're just trying to finalize our approach so we can release more information about that. I also see a clarifying question about the 10/1 endpoint, about the specific time. We will release more information around that shortly as well. So again, the best thing you can do is make sure that you're signed up for that contact list on our website to make sure you receive this information as soon as we get the approval to send it. I'm not seeing any questions about new topics yet. There's some incidents, Brian, that you might need to record to follow up on. Oh, will Sandata be an alternate vendor? They will. You can find their contact information for how to contract with them directly in the EVV 2.0 FAQ on our website.
Very active community, so sorry, we're still trying to read through all of them and make sure we captured everything. There's one here about, are the account numbers for our provider agencies going to remain the same as they currently are in Sandata? And then are we allowed to provide more than one technical contact per vendor? We talked about that one. So you can do more than one technical contact per vendor. As for any of the data you're sending inside of your transaction, inside of your API, you would be sending the same. Monacy or Joe, if I got that wrong, please let me know. But we would do have those instructions for development where we actually have an account in the header we need you to add, but it's not per provider, it's just per EVV vendor.
I do have an update on one of the email addresses. It looks like a.nelson@azurecare.com with care time. That email address did bounce when we tried to respond back to that one. So maybe we can have you resubmit that one and just verify that that email address is correct. It looks like when we try to respond to it, it is coming back as a failed email address.
There's a question around, will Access provide an API to get data back from Access related visits, EVV compliance, etc.? Not just the initial data submission, but actual reports. We do not have any functionality built like that at this time. That's something we could take back as a possible enhancement, but at Go Live, the expectation is it will provide the functionality that exists today. There's questions about adding the key to the header. The development instructions have some information on that, so we'll get that out after the meeting. So you have a little more information there.
We have a question about what happens to the historical information that was sent to Sandata. Will that be accessible?
Yes, so we have a data conversion process with the data from Sandata to bring all of that data over and have it available. So you could do a status call against that to see what it returns. Or if you are a provider, you'll be able to access that information in the user interface.
Thank you, Janice. There's another question. Did you mention that once we register for the APIs, that it could take a few days to receive the access invite?
So when you send your technical contact, it can take us a couple days to get that set up. So we're trying to be as diligent as possible in getting those over every day, but it can take a couple days for the technical folks to get your account set up and send that information to you.
Thank you. It looks like Alan Nelson from Care Time responded, Brian, with his correct email.
Did not see that one. Can you resubmit that back through the ticket system?
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
I got it. Yep, I got it. Now I'll send it to you, Brian.
Thank you.
We have another question. Do we get any immediate acknowledgement that you received the message, or do we need to wait a few minutes?
Joe, can you confirm for me? I think they have an immediate acknowledgement. Is that correct?
Yeah, so you'll get an acknowledgement saying that the data's been submitted and that it's, you know, in our system. But then there's that 20-minute delay based on the processing, right? That you have to make a call back at some point to get the results of it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question, can a provider agency use multiple EVV vendors?
This is Manasi here. As per my understanding, no, at a time, agency works with only one EVV vendor. If they want to switch, they can switch, but a given point, only one EVV vendor.
All right, I did get a response back on the EVV team at access.com. We have the technical contact for that one, whose email has been sent for API registration today, this afternoon. So double check and see if you've gotten that response back. Should be sent.
There is a question, does the new aggregator provide validation?
So the short answer is yes, we do validation. Actually, it's kind of a multi-step validation. Do you have anything specific around that, or?
There's some more questions about confusions with the 10-1 date. I do see the question submitted with multiple queries. I'm going to take this back so we can answer it thoughtfully and release it in an updated FAQ.
And Danny, let's make a note in there. It looks like we have another one for the 10-1 endpoint switch is as of midnight Mountain Standard Time, Eastern, or UTC. I am not sure which time zone that's going to be when we do the cutover, but we can add that to that update as well.
Absolutely.
And then there's a question around the documents that I referred to in the presentation. Danny, I assume that we'll get those out on the website along with the email after this. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, well, we will record, I'm sorry, I can't talk anymore. We will post this recording to our website along with the documents and anything else you might need. We have an Access Aggregator section now on the EVV website, so they'll be posted there. Please do give me a couple business days to get them uploaded. Unfortunately, it's a process, but we will have them on the website. All right, I think our questions are kind of slowing down. We will update our FAQs based on some of the questions we're getting here. So I just want to thank everyone for their time today. HTS, do you have any closing comments?
I do not.
No, I just, again, appreciate all your time and attention to this. And, you know, as you have questions, let us know. We really appreciate you being able to be here today.
Thank you, everyone, for your time today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.